In this video, we're going to talk a bit about plagiarism on YouTube, specifically with regard to Minecraft tutorials and the Russian YouTuber known as Dmitry Skrynnik. When most people think of plagiarism, they tend to think of things like essays or stories being copied, not necessarily YouTube tutorials for Minecraft. But truth be told, this isn't exactly anything that new. It's something that's been going on in the build community for years. However, it often comes at the hands of smaller channels who likely don't know any better. And it's certainly never been as egregious as what I'll be showing you today. Dmitry has a few channels that you can check out if you feel like wasting a few minutes of your life. But the one we're going to be focusing on is his main channel, which has amassed almost 3 million subscribers. Apart from his Let's Play series, which funnily enough showcases some of his worst builds, the rest of his channel is almost entirely made up of tutorials copied from other creators like Zaypixel and Keralis. And these aren't just tutorials that look similar or take inspiration from other builders. They're literally block for block recreations with zero credit given during the video itself or in the description. He simply passes them off as his own work. While I myself didn't manage to find out about this until somewhat recently, when I received a heads up from one of his viewers, this is actually something that's been going on for over 5 years. Dmitry's main channel is normally in Russian, so I've gone ahead and used Google's Translate feature to make it a bit easier for us to see what's going on. As we scroll down, many of you will probably recognize a lot of these builds, as 90% of them are actually tutorials he's plagiarized from someone else. How do I know that? Well, this Japanese gate is actually my tutorial. And just to prove it, if we type into YouTube, Minecraft Japanese gate tutorial, all you have to do is scroll down a bit, and boom, there it is. Same exact build, except it's my channel, and the upload date is 11 months ago instead of 5, which is how you know who stole from who. Some of his fans have yet to grasp that last concept. And to show you really quick that this isn't just me he's stealing from, we can go a few videos to the right, do another search, and we'll discover that this raft is It's Marlowe's design, not Dmitry's. The thumbnails are obviously telling enough on their own, but you can verify this for yourselves by simply watching the videos and looking at the finished products. And again, if we scroll down some more, I'd say this greenhouse looks pretty nice, so let's type that into the search bar, and hey, would you look at that? It just so happens to look the exact same as the greenhouse by one team. A coincidence? I think not. Here's another one many of you have probably seen in your recommended tab before. The exact same mage tower that was done by Zaypixel. Even if we were to just isolate these few videos, in my opinion, Dmitry would already be in the wrong. Yet, we've only just scratched the surface in terms of how much this guy is plagiarized. I'm talking over 100 stolen builds across multiple channels, and I'll show you that by the end of this video. But this here is the icing on the cake. As if there was any doubt. He flat out admits to stealing builds, says he'll continue to steal, and then tries to justify why he thinks that's okay. Now, I'll admit, I can't speak Russian, so you could say that's just a wild guess based on the title of this self-incriminating video. But I was lucky enough to have the help of another Russian YouTuber by the name of Dark Fox, who also happened to have problems with Dmitry in the past, and he helped clear things up. In order to avoid a potential copyright strike from this dickhead, we won't be watching this video in its entirety. But I can still give you a pretty good idea of how piss poor his justifications are by simply jumping around a bit. In this first section, for instance, Dmitry tries to claim that because this smaller creator with about 100 subs decided to copy Magma's design and upload it as his own, that makes it okay for him to do. Anyone with a shred of honor would disagree with that logic, but Dmitry clearly doesn't have any, and this is easily one of his weakest points. Oh, and do you know why Dmitry chose to highlight this specific example? It's because he too has copied Magma's greenhouse design. Funny how that works. The other way he tries to excuse himself in this video is by highlighting the similarities between other tutorials that are out there in an attempt to make it look like popular channels copy each other all the time. He does this by comparing an underground house made by Gold Robin to an underground house made by Folly, and says that because their shapes are similar, Gold Robin must have copied Folly. First of all, I wish Dmitry would put this much effort into his plagiarism, and secondly, that's not even what happened here. Gold Robin didn't steal this design. Some builds just end up looking similar when you're trying to strike a balance between form and function. For someone like Dmitry to equate a few similarities to copying someone's design block for block is laughable at best. And he's only picking on these two because he's stolen builds from both of them in the past. He continues to make these comparisons throughout the rest of the video, however, the one at the end is perhaps the most idiotic, as it deals with realistic structures. A medieval silo made by Blue Nerd Minecraft, and another silo made by the Mythical Sausage. First of all, these two builds look completely different style-wise. And secondly, when you're building something based on a real-life structure that existed during a specific time period, there are only so many ways you can arrange said build before it no longer resembles the thing you're trying to create. You know, a bridge is going to look like a bridge, a windmill is going to look like a windmill, and a medieval silo is probably going to look like a medieval silo. And yet, these two creators still manage to make their designs look unique, as most builders do. Unless, of course, your name is Dmitry. These tutorials were both made on November 26th, by the way, making it highly unlikely one of these guys saw the other's post, learned how to build it, and then copied it for their own tutorial, all in the span of a single day. Again, Dmitry is only using this example because he stole the same silo design from the Mythical Sausage. And yes, he copied it block for block because, as his title says, he steals and will continue to steal because that's what lazy dirtbags like him do. So once I found out Dmitry had been plagiarizing tutorials, I decided to call him out on his fan page. He promptly banned me from said page in order to hide the truth from his viewers, and then, funnily enough, tried reaching out to me under the guise of his manager. Then, once he realized I'd caught on, he banned me from communicating with him that way too. It just goes to show you how much of a cowardly weasel this guy is. Now, I can't speak for other creators out there, but normally, I think if someone were to show the Russian audience how to build my stuff, that'd be pretty cool, as long as they gave sufficient credit. It's not like the majority of that audience can understand what I'm saying anyway, so at the very least, they would have a chance to learn how to build in their native language. Hell, some of them might even end up checking out my channel as a result. To me, that would seem like a win-win if both parties agreed. So when his quote-unquote manager asked what my demands were, that's essentially what I told him. I said that he could teach my builds to his audience as long as he gave credit in the form of a link to my channel or the original build in the description, and gave mention of who he got the build from in the video itself. That wasn't too much to ask given the circumstances. Obviously, it would have required him to make some edits and re-upload the video, but that's the price you gotta pay if you're gonna use my hard work. If anything, he should have been thankful I was willing to let him use my builds at all, because he sure as hell didn't deserve to. Of course, he and his fans claimed those requirements were too extreme, and would create too much work on his end. Well, guess what? Maybe he should have thought about that before he decided to start stealing people's builds. But more power to him if he wants to play the victim. Oh, and by the way, you know what's a lot harder than refilming something and giving someone credit? Creating the shit from scratch. So, if giving credit is too hard for you, then stop stealing everyone's builds. It's that simple. Now, despite all the evidence mounted against him, Dmitry and his fans have still tried to claim that what he's doing isn't plagiarism. They seem to think that because it takes so much effort to translate the video over to his native language, that somehow erases the fact that he's copying someone else's work and passing it off as his own. The reality is that it doesn't. If I translate a book written in Russian over to English, that'll likely take me a lot of time and energy. Yet, if I then try to pass off that translated book as my own work, without giving credit to the original author, that's still plagiarism. Even if that wasn't the case though, Dmitry can't even fall back on the translation argument because he also has a channel in English where he does this exact same thing. To him, this has nothing to do with translating videos to help people out. Any one of his fans who believes that is an absolute fool. The truth is that he's doing this solely for his own gain, and it's 100% plagiarism. Again, everything I've highlighted so far should be enough to prove Dmitry is clearly in the wrong here. Yet, for himself and many of his fans, it isn't. In a last-ditch effort to clear his name, I've seen them resort to arguing that the Russian audience never would have found the videos to begin with due to the algorithm, and therefore, the original creators shouldn't care. Ignoring the fact that Dmitry seems to be able to find the videos just fine, that sentiment may not be completely false. But that still doesn't give him the right to mooch off my or other creators' hard work. It just doesn't. And do you know how the Russian audience could find foreigners' content? If Dmitry just left a link to the original creator's channel. It's not that much to ask. And don't give me the language barrier excuse either, because anyone who's watched a decent Minecraft tutorial knows that if it's good enough, you don't even really need a voiceover to be able to follow it. In fact, many of the best tutorials out there don't use voiceovers at all. Now, some of you watching probably have channels of your own and might be wondering if Dmitry has stolen something of yours. So what I've done is compiled a list of almost every build he's copied since the birth of his channel. I've done my best to include everything older than the last month at the time of recording. However, like I stated at the beginning of this video, Dmitry's stolen hundreds of builds, so I'm bound to have missed a few. That said, Crafty Fox, he's stolen a few of your vehicle tutorials. Briggs87X, he's copied videos like your plane and football field tutorial. Experimental Dude, he stole your house tutorial. Weeder Dude, he's stolen at least 13 of your builds. Average Tuna Sandwich, he copied a number of your decorations. The Chocolate Ore, he completely plagiarized a ton of your build conversions. Magma, he stole builds like your jukebox and McDonald's tutorial. Almost Addicted, he's taken at least 8 of yours. Il Mango, he copied your Wallace Aquarium. Razile, he stole at least 16 of your tutorials. Andy is Yoda, he took 3 of yours. Smithers Boss, he's stolen everything from your Fortnite house to your hospital tutorial. Greg Builds, he copied your Upside Down house. Pixel Riffs, he also used a couple of your builds. Maip, he took at least 3 of yours. The Mythical Sausage, he must really like your style because he's stolen at least 30 of your builds. Oshakra, he's taken a number of your designs as well. Fwip, same goes for you. Corrales, this guy's taken at least 7 of your builds. June's Mob, he's stolen a number of yours. Blue Nerd Minecraft, I take it these medieval builds look pretty familiar. Minecraft Therapy, he's also stolen a couple of yours. Folly, he seems to like your stuff as well. Nekodaro Craft, he stole your Starbucks design. Sheep GG, he's taken a few from you like your Viking build. Gold Robin, same goes for builds like your Sword Portal and Tower. Blend Digi, he's taken a couple of your smaller designs. Raimiho, he's stolen at least 1 of your tutorials. Mr. Blocks, he's taken a liking to some of your Halloween decorations. Zaypixel, he took a couple of your most popular builds. Sevens Minecraft, he stole your forklift design. One Team, he copied your greenhouse and one of your Japanese builds. It's Sturdy, he remade your bridge. Big Tony, he stole a couple of your medieval builds. Blonde Skunk, he did the same with your tiny house. Lenny Random, he stole at least 1 of your tutorials. It's Marlowe, same with your raft. Kenny Zope, he seems to really like your Japanese builds. Cortezarino, one could say the same for you. Yohei the Android, he took at least 1 of your builds. Blue Bits, he stole at least 2 of yours. Build Therapy, he took a couple of your tutorials. Gryan, he also copied a few of yours. Jay Lithical, he stole your dragon statue and boat tutorials. Bara, he copied your bathhouse design. T-Boy, he plagiarized your gazebo. And Avocado, he also took 1 of yours. I should also point out that it's not like Dmitry is stealing these videos and getting fewer views than the original creators. In a lot of cases, he's actually getting way more, which is pretty sad. For instance, Almost Addicted currently has around 30,000 views on his suburban house tutorial. Dmitry, on the other hand, has over 1 million on the plagiarized version. How jacked up is that? Now, I did say Dmitry wasn't the first person to ever do this. In fact, I've had to deal with it quite a bit on my main channel. But there's been a difference between those guys and Dmitry. With everyone else, one message was usually enough to get them to take the video down. And many of them even expressed remorse. Some people simply don't know it's wrong. Dmitry is a different kind of scumbag though. He knows it's wrong, but thinks that because he has 3 million subscribers, he's untouchable. And thus, he'll continue to steal from smaller creators even when they ask him not to. I think it's time that changes.